Hi, it's Eileen, and today I wanted to share with you some ideas for teaching comprehension in your classroom. These are ideas that are perfect for those kids who may be good readers but really struggle with understanding their text, or struggling readers who just need an extra additional help with actually understanding what's going on in the stories. All these ideas today are actually based on winter themed things, simply because I live in Chicago and it's winter for many months here, but they can be applied to any time of year. So the first thing I wanted to share with you is an idea of how to really make comprehension, the concept of comprehension, really about the students and make it relevant to them. So, like I said, in Chicago here, it's winter for a very long time, whether we get a lot of snow or not. It's definitely cold for a while. So what I would do here is draw a picture of a snowman on the board for my little group of readers who are struggling with comprehension and tell them, okay, readers, today we're going to be listening to a little story, and I want you to very carefully pay attention to who is in the story, what they're doing, where and when it's taking place, and why they're doing some of the things that they're doing. And then I would go into the actual story, and the story is going to actually be about Hannah and Declan. And Hannah and Declan are both in this group, and I really want them to start understanding what's happening in the story. So I would say, okay, readers, this weekend there was a big snowstorm, and Hannah and Declan were so excited. And right away, when you say their names, you'll see that their eyes perk up and maybe even giggle because they know, wait a second, this story is about me? Okay, and then you were back to the story. And Hannah and Declan were so excited about the big snowstorm that they decided to go outside and build a snowman together. Hannah collected some green and black buttons while Declan grabbed an orange carrot for the nose of the snowman. They spent a few hours rolling and playing in the snow, and then they put the snowman together, stuck on the buttons, and stuck on the nose. So they had a face and a little body for the snowman, but they also wanted to have some arms. But Hannah noticed there was a big problem. First of all, they only had 2 trees in their yard, and of those 2 trees, none of the sticks had fallen down, so they didn't have any sticks for arms. So they decided their snowman was set just the way it is. Okay, readers, who can tell me, who is the story about? Who is in it? Right away, Hannah and Declan are going to say, it was about us. It was about me and Declan, because they heard their names over again. And what were they doing? They were making a snowman. Now, they're most likely going to be making connections to the time that they made a snowman, they played outside, whatever it is, which is okay. You obviously don't want them to go too far off track, but at the same time, that's showing that not only are they understanding, but they're making a connection to something in their own lives, which that's the whole piece about making it relevant. They're going to remember and pay attention to the story when they know what's happening and already it's something that they've understood to begin with. So when you're getting that base layer of comprehension, it's really important to have it be something that they can connect to. And again, like I said, it's something so simple. All you're doing is using their names in the story, and all of a sudden it's all about them. The next idea is just narrowing your focus. So this is the story, The Wild Toboggan Ride, which is one of my most favorite stories to read in the wintertime. And there are so many different characters in the story. So when I'm reading this one, my narrowed focus for comprehension would be characters. So I would say, okay, readers, today our story is called The Wild Toboggan Ride. And in this story, you're going to hear a lot of different characters popping up while I read. I want you to think about who is in this story and how you would describe them. So we would start reading the story, and I would stop after the second page and say, okay, we already met 2 characters. Who can tell me who we've already met in this story? Nikki and Grandpa Dan, they would say. I would write Nikki and Grandpa Dan up on the chart paper there, up on the board, and then I would ask them to describe Grandpa Dan. And in this story, Grandpa Dan is very impatient. So they might say, oh, Grandpa Dan just wants to go back inside. He doesn't want to wait with his granddaughter any longer. So you would write the word impatient up there. Then you continue to read and you stop every few pages, maybe every page, however you want to do it, so that you're really making sure students are realizing, okay, we're focusing on the characters, we're going to stop and talk about it and then get back to the book. The other thing you can do is make sure you're using different formats. There's so many wonderful read-alouds out there that you can do where you're reading the story and you're simply talking about the story, or you're having kids do a reading response graphic organizer after, during, however you want to do it. The first example I gave with the snowman is simply you're talking. You want to make sure that students can understand and follow what you're saying. So doing something as simple as that few minutes describing something, telling a story, and then having them talk about it, again, is another way to do it. So you can have them draw and write about it. You can have them talk about it. And then the last thing is little passages, short little passages. You don't want anything too lengthy, where they know they're focusing just overall on what the story is going to be about. You might even go over the questions before reading it so they know what they're listening for. But they can always go back in those little ones and simply highlight the text that they're getting the answer from, and they're literally just then copying the answer directly onto the page there at the second half. So you're just getting them to do that direct, simple comprehension. So that's just 3 different ways that you can get them to show their understanding. And then you can see where they're really struggling. Do they really struggle when you're reading aloud something because they can't follow along? Do they struggle while they're reading with you? Do they struggle when they just have to listen and there's not much to look at? So then you can go from there and really help them with whatever part of comprehension is most difficult for them. And one other key piece, motivation. Make it exciting for them. If you do the same thing and you make them do a reading response every single time you read a story, if you do the same graphic organizer, you ask the exact same questions, it gets boring both for you and for the students. So pull out those Mr. Sketch scented markers and your chart paper. Just like we teachers absolutely love using them, kids love using them too. I know they are prized possessions to us, but maybe have an extra set that's just for the students to use. That's what I always do. And you're simply going to have them, you're going to pull it out at the beginning. And I always do that. And I say, okay, after we're reading today, while we're reading today, we're going to be adding to this chart paper with our fun markers. So they're going to pick out their fun marker at the beginning, and you might have them write words down about the characters. You might have them write, draw a picture of the setting and write about where it is and when it's taking place. You might have them answering a specific question. They might be doing a web, whatever it is. You're going to have them doing it on there, which makes it that much more exciting. And trust me, they pay attention that much better. And then the idea over on the right there, I don't know if you happen to have a bunch of those Target dollar spot erasers, but I have several, and one of them is a set of arrows, and those are perfect if you just have them out at your guided reading table in a little container, and you say, okay, today when we're reading, whether it's their individual stories, whether it's you reading aloud, usually this works out perfect for the little books in front of them or little passages, and you're going to have them point to the characters as you go through the story. You're going to have them point to the names of the characters. You're going to have a point to what's happening and finding words like snowman or whatever that would describe what they are doing. And that just makes it more exciting for them. Okay, so those little passages that I had on the other screen are a little freebie. You can grab it from my blog, and it's just 3 little stories, both in black and white and color, and simple comprehension questions that are perfect to use for kindergartners, where you're reading the story to them. Maybe first graders, same thing, you might be reading it to them, or they might be reading it on their own and then highlighting the answers and writing the answers. Or you can even use it with older kids who you just really want to focus on. We need simple comprehension, that they're really getting to the basic understanding of the text. And then I also have a set in my store, TPT store, Eileen Clausen, that's perfect for year-round. It's just a bunch of different passages, short little passages, simple sentences, and then simple questions that they're thinking about and answering. So thanks so much for joining me and checking out this little video. I hope these ideas helped you. Thanks. Bye. Have a great day.